trying to go live on Facebook. I was having technical difficulties, and hopefully they're resolved. I'm kicked off of YouTube for 2 weeks, so I'm trying out Facebook to go live. It is not my home. It is not my comfort zone, but I'm going to try anyway. Let me see if I'm live. Let me see. Okay, Tony's here. I'm live. Okay. I needed you, Tony. Okay, Miriam, let me just tell Miriam I'm back on. Maybe she'll jump on too. Okay, Tony, I love your enthusiasm, and thank you for being here early on Thanksgiving morning. For anybody who couldn't make it, hopefully many people will watch this on the replay because I have a lot of good things I prepared to say. I know Tony promised me. I'm like, who's going to get up on Thursday morning of Thanksgiving and listen to me? But I have Miriam and I have Tony, so let's go. Today I want to talk about the Jewish point of view for the event that's coming in. This is a humanity event. This is what me and Miriam were talking about again. This is not a Christian event, a Jewish event, a Muslim event. What's happening on planet Earth right now is for humanity, for all of us. And we all have different perspectives on how we've been taught about the end times. I grew up Jewish. I grew up Orthodox. So this is my perspective. And I want to share it. It is like, it compels me. I have no choice. I'm trying my 4th time to go live this morning on Facebook. With the help of my sister and my friend Tony. So I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here. Miriam and Tony should be friends. The first thing I want to talk about, that I gather things from my week and I like to share them with you guys. The first thing I want to talk about is this woman who hid in her closet during the attacks in Israel, during the terrorist attack on October 7th. She said everyone in her town ran to their safe room, and she ran to her closet. I'm going to try to screen share again, see if I could show you. She's such a holy woman, but she's so regular looking, and her story is incredible. She went into a closet, took with her the Zohar, a book of the Zohar, and she hid in her closet for 12 hours while there was gunfire, while she heard screaming right out her apartment window. She stayed for 12 hours in her cupboard, in the tiny cupboard in a closet behind her clothing. And she said that book lit up. She opened it and there was light coming out and the letters were coming out, and she was safe. It kept her safe in there. And she said to God in those moments, if you want me, take me. She said, my whole life, all I want is to be close to you. If you want me to survive, I'll survive. If you want to take me, take me. And she was totally surrendered to the moment. And I want to just show you her face if I can. I'm going to try to screen share again. Hold on, you guys. Hold on. Okay, hold on. I'm still trying to screen share. Okay, I couldn't see. Yep. It's so weird. I'm glad we figured it out, Tony. I'm so happy to have you and Miriam here. Okay, so let me see if I could screen share. Okay. Let's go up, up, up. Okay, can you guys see the screen share? Oh, I can't get this to play. Okay, I'm stopping the screen share because I couldn't get it to play, but it's fine. I'll leave it on my Telegram channel. It is this woman who showed me the power of the Zohar. During the attacks, she hid in her closet, held the book of, she said, what should I take with me? She gives a whole explanation. She grabbed this book and she ran and she said, what struck me the most is that the whole time that she is in panic mode, she's talking to God and God is guiding her what to do next. And that is the lesson that I took from her, that you don't have to look like the holiest person or be the holiest person, but if you are connected to God on the inside, and talking to him constantly, he will get you through everything, no matter what the outcome is. As long as you're with God, as long as you are clinging to God, you're going to be good. You're going to be fine. You guys are talking mashed potatoes. Okay, so thank you for being here, guys. I couldn't talk to myself. Hopefully people will watch this on the replay, but I have to get this information out because it is so important. And what I want to talk about first is going back to the Zohar. Like, I wonder why we didn't have it until now. Where has it been? And I got some background from Rabbi Gozlan, who I listen to. He gives Zohar classes, Kabbalah, mystical Torah classes, Galactic Torah classes on YouTube that I follow. He speaks in Spanish, but many of them are translated to English. And I also share those on my Telegram channel, which I'll link below if you guys want to watch. But I have immersed myself in Kabbalah for the past 6 weeks, and it is changing my life. It is filling in the gaps, the galactic missing gaps of information that it's connecting Torah to the galaxies. I mean, this is what we need right now because Geula, redemption, Mashiach will be a galactic event. And if you want to have some understanding of what's going on in real time as it's happening, this is the time to do the preparation, to learn this stuff. This is why I want to share it with you guys, so you won't be afraid when the sky event happens. My sister Miriam said this 2 years ago, that the first redemption was land and sea. And this redemption will be sky event. Geula is a sky event. And we have Eliyahu Hanavi, who is Sandalphon, ascended in the body. And we have Metatron, who is Chanoch, the book of Enoch. These two army generals, they control all of heaven, the armies of heaven. And they're going to announce who is Mashiach, who is the Redeemer. And they are going to come with all their chariots on. I think this is how it's going to go down. They're going to wipe off. They are in charge of wiping off evil from the planet because it is so entrenched. The evil, we know this 5G warfare. It is in the water. It is in the air. It is in the schools. It is in the government. It is everywhere. It is in, Kabbalah Guru says it is in the shag carpet. You can't get it out. So it's not our job. Our job is to be prepared for the sky event, and they're going to come. And they know exactly what evil to wipe out. They will wipe out evil, this Eruv Rav enemy who causes fear and doubt. They will wipe it off the planet. I wanted to start with a thought, a download, puzzle pieces that came together last night for me that I explained to Miriam at like 10 o'clock last night that it made me shake. Like when I get information that makes me shake, it's a similar feeling to when I was first waking up in 2020 to COVID. It's like I get this buzzing, and I got the same buzzing last night when I put these pieces together. And it goes like this. This is what I learned from Rabbi Gozlan, Rabbi Alberto Gozlan. And I put it together with some stuff I learned from Rabbi Alon Anava. Rabbi Alon Anava said, redemption can come in 2 ways. It come in like a 3D way, like a very low vibration way, like a fear-based way where there's a man on a donkey, or it can come in Anane Shemaya, which I translate now as spaceships or some kind of craft from the sky. Okay, they're gonna come riding in on some kind of chariot from the sky, which we otherwise know today. This is about bridging the language, the old biblical language with the modern day galactic information. So the second way they're going to come, that Mashiach could come, the 5D way, is going to be craft from heavens. And it's really important. I mean, we're living in a time right now where disclosure is everywhere. We have Joe Rogan interviewing NASA whistleblowers. If you look on any social media, you will find thousands of people talking about alien life. And until 2020, I wasn't even open to the conversation. I thought it was National Enquirer. I thought it was for crazy people. Now I can't get enough of this information. The Roswell landing, the beings that they found, this NASA whistleblower, I listened to a little bit of Joe Rogan, and he was saying how the DNA that they found of the recovered people, cousins, galactic cousins from the craft, were so similar to our DNA that they had to keep it under, they had to classify it. It's still classified, that information. He's a whistleblower. He's coming out with it now. I also love Rogan. Joe Rogan, okay, I used to watch him make people eat spiders. You remember that show, Fear Factor? And he, out of nowhere, became the most important person, like Elon Musk, like out of nowhere. So here's what I want to share. Here's my insight. The first set of tablets, the 10 Commandments that Moses brought down from Har Sinai, were based on the tree of life, based on love, contained 4 levels of Torah: Peshat, Darash, Remez, and Sod. The surface, the deeper explanation, the hints, and the secrets. The Sod is Kabbalah. And when he came down, Moses came down the mountain, saw the people in fear. He was a day late and they freaked out. According to their calculations, he was late. So they freaked out. Put together an idol, put together the golden calf. The secrets, right, Tony? Put together the golden calf. Moses sees this, and all of a sudden he hears from heaven, they are not worthy of those tablets, those love-based tablets. Throw it down. You must destroy that. And that he did. He destroyed the tablets. Then he went back up for another 40 days, came back with a second set of tablets, which were founded on the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And this is the Torah that we hold today. This is the Torah with the 613 mitzvos, the commandments. And this is the Torah it's more of a fear-based 3D Torah that we've been immersed in. Nebuch on us for the past 3,000 years, okay? We're missing the sod, we're missing the sweet spot of Torah, the galactic origin of us, of planet Earth, all this lost information that's resurfacing now. So he comes down with the second set of the Torah, and this is what we've been learning. But what happened? The first 2 temples in Jerusalem were founded on the second set of tablets, right? And that's why those 2 temples didn't last. They were destroyed. Because we were living in a Piscean age, in an age of fear. And then what happened after the destruction of the second temple? Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, here's what happened. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, it was a rabbi, a mystic, student of Rabbi Akiva. And we're going to read about him later. I flagged a chapter we're going to read about. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai went into a cave to learn Torah because they were being persecuted by the Romans. And who came to him in those 13 years to teach him? The disembodied, the soul, the spirit of Moses, Moshe Rabbeinu. Because Moshe was still so heavily invested in transmitting this mystical information and giving it back to earth. So he came back down into this cave with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and restored to us this information in the Zohar. In the Zohar, you guys. The Zohar, we have it. It's back in our hands. We just have to learn it. So it is said that the third temple will be rebuilt exclusively on the Sod, on the Zohar, on the mystical information of the Torah, on the deepest level of the Torah that we've been deprived of for 3,000 years. That's being restored to us. It is everywhere. I learned Rabbi Ephraim Palvanov is teaching me so much Kabbalah. Rabbi Alberto Gozlan is teaching me. I am reading it on my own. I am sunk in it. I dive into Kabbalah. I am thirsty for it. I can't get enough of it. I have to take breaks from it sometimes because it's like eating the most decadent chocolate cake. And I'm like, okay, I need a minute. That was like information that I never knew. And it just satisfies me in the deepest way. It is my soul food right now. And that's why I want to give it over to you guys, because I hope it'll satisfy you guys. Okay. Well, thanks, Tony. I bought that painting in Israel. And there's Rav Kook, who I love. Okay, so that was my revelation about Moshe Rabbeinu giving us back the missing part of Torah that heaven did not let us have. He gave it back to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in the cave, and we have it now. It was restored to us. And the third temple will be based exclusively on the Sod. And Rabbi Gozlan said, we will not have the 613 mitzvos anymore, because we're going to be living in the energy field of love. We're going to be living in the energy field of creation. When you're in a space of love, you get out ahead of creation. You're not in reaction anymore. When you're living in fear, you are in survival mode. You are just fielding life, whatever is coming at you. But when you are in a state of relaxation, love, joy, bliss, you are inviting life in and creating it as you go. You are in the flow of life. And this is what we're coming into. And this is what the Zohar is bringing us. Okay, so I wanted to read, we're going into this week's Parsha, this week's Torah portion, Vayetze. And I'm going to read to you 2 pages. It has to do with souls and reincarnation and who is who. So many characters in the Bible are reincarnations of each other. And I love, one of my favorite things is finding out who is who and who came back as who. I'm trying to think if I should read or if I should try to play that from Rabbi Gozlan. Hold on, let me see if I could screen share again. Be patient with me, guys. Give me 2 minutes here, because I have such a good thing prepared to play for you, and then I'm going to read to you about it also. Okay, screen share, Adam and Cain, share, play.
Among human beings. Yes, it was. And the soul of Adam, was it damaged from this relationship with evil spirits? The soul was damaged? And did these bits of soul that were distributed among humans change? And then it was distributed? No, it was not distributed. Pieces of it? No. Let's look at the first question. Why did they separate when Cain was born? When in the Garden of Eden, there was an infection, a cosmic short circuit. Adam came down to earth with his wife, Hava, Eve. The woman both had a spiritual infection. And they had 2 children, Cain and Abel. The infection was passed on to Cain, but not to Abel. Poor Cain. Yes, it was a tarnished soul that would have to be purified. When Adam saw the type of son that he had, Cain, he reacted by separating from his wife because he was aggrieved by having this infected son. When Adam had Cain and Abel, he did not have just 2 sons, but 4. Abel was born with his sister soul, and Cain was born with his sister soul. But Cain fell in love with the sister soul of his brother, Abel. And to take it away from him, he killed his brother Abel. We saw yesterday in the Parashat Yitro that we read that Yitro is the reincarnation of Cain, and Yitro took the hand of his daughter who was the reincarnation of the sister soul of Abel that he had taken away, and gave it to who is the reincarnation of Abel. So he repaired what Cain did to Abel. Is that clear? Cain reincarnated as Yitro, and the daughter of Yitro is the reincarnation of the sister soul of Abel. And since Cain took it from Abel, the sister soul from Abel, in the new generation, which is Yitro, and the sister soul of Abel was reincarnated as his daughter, he took his daughter by the hand and gave it to Moshe. Since he took it away in the previous incarnation, he gave it back in this incarnation. We're talking about an infection. Adam and Hava had an infection, and it passed on to one of their sons, Cain. The other son was Abel. Abraham had two sons, Ishmael and Isaac. Where does the purity go? And where did the impurity go? The purity went to Isaac. Isaac had two children, Esau and Jacob. And where did the purity go? To Jacob. And the impurity to Esau. There is a mechanism to purify souls. They are purified and purified successively since Cain. Initially, Rabbi Akiva is the reincarnation of Cain, and it is known how he died, with suffering and terrible torture, because they flayed him with a burning fork. What did he say when they came to torture him? I've been waiting for this moment my whole life, because he wanted to repair what Cain had done. And that is the explanation of how souls are purified with reincarnations. This happens to all of us. All of us have an infected part and a pure part, and the impure part is detached, and the pure part continues. And the soul of Adam, it's the same thing with the soul of Adam, because it went to Cain and to Abel. About Adam, why at the...
Okay, did you guys get all that? That was a lot. I had to listen to this class a few times. The overall concept is that reincarnation is a chance for the part of the soul that got something wrong in a previous life to get it right in the next life. Oh, Irma! So he gives specific examples of Cain and Abel, okay, where Cain kills Abel to take his sister. And then in another incarnation, Moses is Abel, and his father-in-law Jethro is Cain. And Cain has this opportunity as Yisro to rectify that sin. So what does he do? He takes his daughter Tzipporah, who is the incarnation of Abel's wife, Abel's sister, twin sister, and gives it to Moses, who's Abel, as a wife. Done. Karma complete. That's an amazing story. I have a few other examples that I'm going to read to you of Rabbi Akiva and Yisachar and all these people. I think what happens, what I understood, is that the reincarnated piece of that soul comes in and has an opportunity in that life to correct for all the original primordial sins. So we're still living this out. We're still living out all the rectifications, all the mistakes made. So it is our opportunity. You don't know who you are. You don't know where your soul came from. We don't know, as my friend Ani Lippitz said, we don't know your true expanded biography, your galactic biography. So do good in this world. Do right. If you have a challenge come up, that might be the moment you came for to get it right. Be strong. I wanted to read, the next thing I wanted to read to you guys is from The Garments of Light. This is another, such a special book, such a special man, Rabbi Palvanov, such a genius. I listen to two of his lectures a week, two of Rabbi Gozlan, and I do read and soak it in. So this week's Torah portion is called Vayetze. And I'm going to start reading. It's called The Unusual Connection Between Jacob, Yisachar, who is one of the 12 tribes, and Rabbi Akiva. Okay, here's more reincarnation gems. Vayetze recounts how Jacob, following the advice of his parents, leaves the Holy Land and journeys to Haran. There he meets Rachel, whom he falls in love with instantly and agrees to labor for 7 years to earn her hand in marriage. And as the well-known story goes, we see how Jacob's father-in-law Lavan tricks him into first marrying Leah, Rachel's older sister. Jacob is forced to work yet another 7 years for his beloved Rachel. The Torah then gives a detailed account of the pregnancies of Leah, of Rachel, and their maidservants, Zilpah and Bilhah, setting the foundation for the 12 tribes who descended from each. In his commentary on the Parsha, the Arizal, another mystic rabbi, focuses specifically on Yisachar, the fifth son of Leah. We're going to talk about the fifth son of our mother, Leah. He begins by quoting a verse from Chronicles 1 that describes the tribe of Yisachar as Yodea Bina, knowledgeable and wise. He then draws from the Medrash, which states that Rabbi Akiva, a famed 2nd century sage who lived in the time of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who was his student or his teacher, was Yisachar, and that in addition to being among the greatest rabbis of all time, Rabbi Akiva was one of the Aseres Haruge Malchus, the 10 martyrs of Israel. These were 10 Talmudic sages who were killed mercilessly and horrifically by the Romans. It's reincarnation and the 10 martyrs. The narrative of the 10 martyrs appears in many Jewish texts and goes something like this. A certain Roman emperor took an interest in learning the laws of Torah. He discovered that while the Torah is clear on the rule of kidnapping, that kidnapping is punishable by death, the sons of Jacob who kidnapped their half-brother Joseph were never punished for kidnapping him. Technically, by Torah law, they should have been put to death. And so the Roman emperor summoned 10 of the greatest rabbis of the day, among them Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Yishmael ben Elisha, who is the book of Enoch, who wrote the 3rd book of Enoch, which I'm going to read to you at the end of my live today. So we have as one of these 10 martyrs, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Yishmael ben Elisha, and 8 others. He presented them with this conundrum, and they agreed with his conclusion. The emperor decided that the 10 rabbis should suffer the fate that was meant to befall the 10 sons of Jacob. He decreed death penalty upon them and had them imprisoned. During the rabbi's confinement, Yishmael ben Elisha, who we know went up to heaven from the book of Enoch. We know he was able to ascend. So Rabbi Yishmael ben Elisha invoked God's ineffable name to receive counsel from heaven. He found out from heaven that this punishment was indeed decreed upon them from above. These 10 rabbis ended up being tragically martyred at the hands of the Roman government. The Arizal explains that the punishment was decreed upon them from heaven because these 10 rabbis were none other than the reincarnation of the 10 sons of Jacob. And that's where it starts to make sense. And that's where the pain starts to go away. When we can see the span of a soul, we can understand that it is not a punishment, it is a rectification. It is an opportunity for rectification, and you can be happy for that soul, that they took the opportunity. They didn't blow the opportunity for rectification. They took it with both hands, as I'm going to read to you now. In that sense, they deserved their death as a rectification for their sins in their past lives. Each of the 10 martyrs, who, like we just said, was a reincarnation of one of the 10 tribes, paralleled one of the 10 sons of Jacob. Rabbi Akiva was a reincarnation of Yisachar. Let me just see if I want to read to you the rest of this. No, that was it. So when we start to make sense of reincarnation, we can even look at the people who were horrifically slaughtered on October 7th and maybe understand that they agreed to that. We know Rabbi Akiva in the moment of his death was smiling and happy because he understood what he was accomplishing in that moment. He understood he was redeeming the soul of Yisachar. And he went happily. They flayed his skin with hot rakes. And he was able to smile and say, Shema Yisrael, in the moment of his death. And here we have understanding. Finally, missing pieces come together. Okay, the next thing, let me just read my notes. When we take Torah back to its galactic origin, when we can understand the layer beneath the layer, the secrets of the Torah, the suffering starts to abate. The understanding starts to come in. The big picture gives us the ultimate solace and comfort. Right now, most of the world connects to God most exquisitely through what? Through suffering. Imo anochi b'tzara, I am with you in your pain. This is going away. This is what's going away, leaving the planet. This vibration of suffering. Once we understand the secrets of the Torah, once we understand who we are, where we came from, and that we are creator beings through our connection to God, through joy. Our main connection to God will not be through suffering anymore. We will not have to learn lessons through suffering. We will only learn through joy. And this is why the third temple will sustain, because it will be built on the secrets of Torah that will allow us to be free from suffering. Okay, the next thing I wanted to show you, and I hope I can play this also, is I've been watching a lot of Mateus De Stefano. We had a second grade teacher, Mrs. De Stefano. Remember, Mir? Remember Mrs. D? So this is Mateus De Stefano, so I can remember his name. He said he was in Israel 2 weeks before the war, and he was guiding a tour. I want to try to play it for you. Okay, let's try. Let's see if I could screen share. Hold on, guys. Let's do this again. Okay, let's try share.
Two things to me mainly. What are you doing here? And I was like, well, I'm leading a group, like through Israel. And he said, why? And because I don't know, because they want me to. And he said, but this is not your land. Why are you here? Like, are you here because you want to be like those masters that walk this land? And I was like, oh my gosh, like, no, no, I don't want to be that. So go away. This is not your land. And I said, okay. And he said, this is not your land. Plus, soon this land will be covered in ashes. A war is coming, he said. And this was 2 weeks before everything started to happen. A war is coming, and when everything is covered in ashes, the task of those who are awakened will be to find the sparks in between. That was the first thing that he said. And the second one was, so now go back to the land that you belong, which is Egypt. I was in Israel.
Okay, so that blew my mind. A friend of mine in Canada sent me that, and I found the interview, and I watched the 2-hour interview. And he clarified actually in a different interview what the sparks are. It's going to be covered in ashes. I don't know what that means. It all could be metaphorical. But what he did say in this other interview, Mateus, he said, the sparks will be the people who are awakened, who will remain calm in the chaos. I'll say that again. The sparks in the ashes are going to be the people who are awakened, who remain calm inside the chaos. And that's the message that I took for all who is awakened right now. Do not be afraid when shit goes down, when the world gets not really blown up, but when all the structures that we've known our whole life get taken down, when the evil gets taken down, we know what's happening. Even though it'll look like a mess, the world will look like total chaos. We celebrate that. We dance in the streets when that happens because we know we will rebuild what is good, what is kind, what is joy, and what is lasting. Just like the third Beis HaMikdash, which will probably be a spaceship. I'm going to play you one last thing if I can. It's this rabbi talking about the third temple will be will match our light bodies. It will not be brick and mortar. It will be something from the sky. And this is why it's so important to learn Zohar if you're Jewish. Pick up a Zohar translation. This is the Sonsino edition. I got it on Amazon. And it's English. It's translated. You can read it. You can find people, Rabbi Gozlan, Rabbi Palvanov, holy people teaching the Zohar now. So you can be primed. You can be prepared. Your soul will have expanded its consciousness. You won't be freaked out when the sky event comes in. You'll take it in with joy and radiance and exhilaration because you'll know what's going on. Okay, I want to read to you about Malki Tzedek, who he was talking about. That's who he channeled, Matthias de Stefano. The first, who was Malki Tzedek? Who is Malki Tzedek? He was the first priest of Jerusalem. And that's why he told him, get out of here. If you don't belong in Jerusalem, get out. Go to Egypt. Everyone's soul has a geographic home. So we don't have to fight over land. We don't have to claim our indigenousness. We don't have to go down those paths anymore of fighting. They want us to fight with each other. Let's not do it because God knows which soul belongs where. And just like Matthias, who channeled Malki Tzedek while he's in Jerusalem, told him, you don't belong here. Get out. Go to Egypt. That's the home of your soul. Know that your soul has a home too, where it belongs. And know that there's nothing that can stop your soul from being where it belongs when everything gets sorted out. So don't be insecure about that. Be secure in that. Okay, let's read about Malki Tzedek. Oh, Tony, I couldn't have done this without you and Miriam this morning. Really, you gave me the chizuk, the strength I needed, because I had so many important things I had to say, and I'm so happy I got them out. Okay, so the Torah tells us that following the flood, I'm reading from the second book of Garments of Light. The Torah tells us that following the flood, Noah brought sacrificial offerings to God. The Medrash in Bereshis Rabbah fills in that it was actually Shem, the son of Noah, who facilitated the offerings. Upon exiting the ark, Noah was attacked by a lion and seriously injured, preventing him from performing the sacrificial rites. His son Shem stepped in, becoming history's first official priest by giving this first offering coming right off the ark. He held on to this role for several centuries. Knowing that Jerusalem is the spiritual center of the world and God's chosen site for offerings, Shem settled there. He soon called the place Shalem, literally wholeness or peace, and soon became the king there as well. Following Abraham's war, it is said that Shem, now known as Malki Tzedek, see how it's coming together? Conferred the priesthood. The priesthood was passed from father to son through the special birthright and blessing. With the sin of the golden calf at Mount Sinai, the firstborn of Israel collectively lost their rights to the priesthood, and it was given to the tribe of Levi. The return of the righteous priest. How is the life of shame / Malki Tzedek? How did it come to an end appears to be a mystery. Some ancient Jewish texts put him in the same league as Elijah, Sandalphon, and Enoch, Metatron. Two people who are said to have never died, they ascended in the body. The Talmud in Sukkah 52b speaks of a righteous priest who comes at the end of days together. I could cry. Together with Elijah and the two messiahs, Mashiach ben David and Mashiach ben Yosef. It really chokes me up. Whew. The Medrash identifies this righteous priest who's going to be like in the sidecar with Metatron and with Sandalphon. Malki Tzedek will ride in with them and help them identify who these two Mashiachs are. Together, they make up the 4 horsemen prophesied by Zechariah and will finally usher in a new and peaceful world. I had once heard I'm not remembering it right, that Rabbi Akiva was, in addition to being, I think he also had a fragment of Cain in him. I once heard, and we know that souls are composites. It's a mosaic. You have 5 levels of the soul: the nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, and yechida. So each of these 5, it's like 5 slots that a reincarnated fragment can ride back into the world and do a rectification. So I think that Rabbi Akiva was Yisachar, one of the 10 tribes, and also had some kind of fragment of Cain. So he did a lot of rectification, Rabbi Akiva, and we owe him so much for that. So much gratitude. The last thing I want to do is read to you from the book of Enoch, which is written by Rabbi Yishmael, one of the 10 martyrs, along with Rabbi Akiva. Chapter 3. This is where I'm picking up from last week. Metatron has 70 names, but God calls him youth. Rabbi Yishmael says, "In that hour I asked Metatron the angel, the prince of presence, what is thy name? He answered me, I have 70 names, corresponding to the 70 tongues of the world, and all of them are based on the name Metatron, angel of presence. But my king calls me Na'ar, youth." This is why Metatron is the head of all of them, because he speaks all the 70 languages. Each nation has an appointed head, a sar, and Metatron is the head of the heads, because he speaks all their languages. So I'm going to read you one more chapter from the book of Enoch. Metatron is identical with Enoch, who was translated to heaven in the time of the flood. Rabbi Yishmael said, I asked Metatron, and I said to him, why art thou called by the name of thy creator, by 70 names? Thou art greater than all the princes, higher than all the angels, beloved more than all the servants, honored above all the mighty ones in kingship, greatness and glory. Why do they call thee youth, Na'ar? Why are you called youth in heaven? He answered and he said to me, because I am Enoch, the son of Jared. For when the generation of the flood sinned and were confounded in their deeds, saying unto God, depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of thy ways. The Holy One, blessed be he, removed me from their midst to be a witness against them in heaven, to all the inhabitants of the world, that they may not say, the merciful one is cruel. What sinned all those multitudes, their wives, their sons, their daughters, their horses, their mules, their cattle, and their property, and all the birds of the world, all of which the Holy One, blessed be he, destroyed from the world together in the waters of the flood. Hence the Holy One, blessed be he, lifted me up in their lifetime before their eyes to be a witness against them to their future world. And the Holy One, blessed be he, assigned me for a prince and a ruler among the ministering angels. In that hour, 3 of the ministering angels, Uzzah, Azza, and Azael, those are the evil ones, came forth and brought charges against me in the high heavens, saying before the Holy One, blessed be he, Said not the ancient ones rightly before thee, do not create man. The Holy One, blessed be he, answered and said to them, to those three evil ones, I have made and I will bear ye, and I will carry and I will deliver. As soon as they saw me, they said before him, Lord of the universe, what is this one, that he should ascend to the height of heights? Is he not from the sons of those who perished in the days of the flood? What is he doing in the rakia, in the heavens, in the firmament? Again, the Holy One, blessed be he, answered him and said to them, what are ye, that ye enter and speak in my presence? I delight in this one, in Enoch, more than all of you. And hence he shall be a prince and a ruler over you in the high heavens. Forthwith all stood up and went out to meet me, prostrated themselves before me, and said, Happy art thou, and happy is thy father, for thy creator doth favor thee, and because I am small and a youth among them in days. That's why they call me youth. So basically, we know from this book that Metatron was elevated. He was taken on high, and he became the witness to the generation of the flood, the evil that was done. So just to recap a little bit and to end off, because I'm leaving to Israel in 5 hours, and hopefully I can broadcast from some platform next week again, to continue to spread Kabbalah, the light of Kabbalah. We're leaving a time when Torah was just interpreted on 3 levels. It was interpreted on Pshat, Darash, and Remez. And that means, if you put those 3 letters together, it's Fered, which is mule. And it's very 3D. It's a very 3D understanding of the Torah. But it was all we had. And we dedicated our lives. The Jewish people have dedicated our lives to understanding those 3 levels. We haven't given up on the Torah. As hard as it was, as confusing as it was, we dedicated ourselves to V'hagisa bo yomam v'layla, to day and night learning of it. But we're coming into a time when we're going to turn the Fered, which is the mule, the donkey, we're going to add back to it the Sod of Torah, the Kabbalah, the mystical, the galactic aspect of Torah is going to be added back, and it's going to illuminate those other 3 layers. And it's going to make it all make sense. It's going to make it all make sense. And the 3rd temple, that is most likely going to be a mother ship or craft from the sky, with chariots, with Enoch, with Eliyahu Navi, with the 2 Mashiachs, with Melchizedek, the crew, the Hamone Mala, Em Amcha Yisrael Kavutze Mata. It really chokes me up that we're living this. We get to be the ground crew. We get to be the ones looking up. When all of the magic goes down, and we won't be afraid. We're going to be the sparks in the chaos. It's an honor. What an honor. God trusted us. It's an absolute holy honor to be on planet Earth right now. We are helping all of the cosmos to ascend We're doing massive rectifications for everybody. I once heard that the Pleiadians abandoned us, and they came back this time to help us, to help lift us out of the mess, because everybody is doing a rectification right now. Figure out what yours is, grab it with both hands. Sorry. Because any day now, we will witness the greatest show on earth. I love you guys. I will broadcast live from Israel. I'll bring you guys with me. Now that I figured Facebook out a little bit, I'm not as scared. I feel like going live was probably one of the scariest things I've done. First on YouTube and then here. But I feel like it was part of my rectification. To spread the light. And we're doing it. I'm doing it. I'm overcoming a lot to try to teach this. To try to have the remembrance of all this information come in for all of us. To put the pieces together. Thanks, Irma. So we could do our part as the ground crew, as the clueless ground crew, who is just trying their best every day to stay in a grounded, grateful, joyful, playful vibration, so it could echo in the galaxies, and we could bring God's presence down here. That's the game. We just want to feel God, and when we bring God's frequency down here for us, by matching it, by inviting his frequency to live inside our heart, we bring it down for all of creation, and we fix the world. No big deal. Love you guys. Thanks for being here. Happy Thanksgiving. I'll see you in a week.